by Simpsons. Deleted scenes from Season 5.
Hi, I'm Al Jean. I was one of the showrunners for Season 4, actually. But what we do every year is there's a couple of episodes we record at the end of the broadcast year, and then we air them the following season. They're called holdovers. Generally, the Halloween show is one, and we do that with shows that sometimes we want to give a little extra time for the animation, too. Oh, this is a parody of the Beatles' famous press conference that they did at Kennedy Center when they first arrived in America. The whole episode is obviously a satire of the Beatles. And this was an attempt to show how fickle the tastes of popular music are.
Gentlemen, Us Magazine just came out with its...
Actually, Mike Reese and I used to be writers for Alf in the first season, and since that time we've always tried to use Alf as a reference on The Simpsons. Now, one thing you can see is this is actually Dan Castellaneta doing the voice of Skinner's mother, but later on Tress MacNeille actually did it, which is a big plus because she's very funny and she's a woman. Now here, the ending of Itchy and Scratchy where he just cut him to pieces and then, that was the end of it, seemed a lot funnier than just going on to this. And, it's sort of a satire of, making fun of expensive medical bills.
But who'd want to hurt me? I'm this century's Dennis the Menace.
It's probably the person you least suspect.
That's good, Dad.
More likely it's someone who holds a grudge against you.
Well, this is the sort of cutaway that, if it doesn't get a big laugh, then, we just cut it because it's just there for no plot reason whatsoever. It's just there to try to be funny. And this wasn't, so that's why nobody has seen it for 15 years. And maybe they shouldn't see it for 15 more.
I bet it was.
One thing is that with the cuts that we took in Cape Fear, it made the show very short, which was actually one reason why we had to extend the rake sequence so long. So I guess it turned into a positive in the long run.
Sit in the car till you're ready to drive me home.
Doesn't work if you invite them. Idly hey!
Go home.
Doodly do!
And all this was a bit about Homer, setting up the house to trap the killer. And again, none of it played that well. You can also see Homer's mouth isn't animated for his dialogue there.
Your mate got it for me. Consuela, you're a lifesaver.
Yup. Don't know what we'd do without old Consuela.
This was a very long bit. No wonder it took a lot of time when we cut it.
It's so good to be home again.
Look what happened without my pills!
Bart, run upstairs, get Grandpa's medicine.
Not so fast.
This ending always seemed pretty crazy to me. I know some of it's still in the show, but the idea that, we end this, very scary Cape Fear parody with this insane grandpa being courted by Jasper sequence.
Look sweet.
Upon the seat of a bicycle built for two.
Marge, you must hate me for not taking Mr. Burns' money.
I don't hate you. I'm proud of you. You came through for your daughter when she needed you the most.
Oh, thanks, Marge. But it'll take a lot more than that to comfort this tortured
This is
soul.
Dave Merkin, and this is a scene that I had to cut for time. I didn't really want to cut it, and I am happy that you're getting to see this because I really enjoy Mr. Burns' acting here, where he looks behind this machine several times to see if it's hooked up. And it's just really, really well animated by the director here, that there's multiple looks. This episode had actually, quite a lot of funny things that we had to cut, but this material is not as strong as some of the material we actually kept in the show. Krusty's particularly hard to write for because he has to be unfunny and fail, but yet still be funny while failing, and that's a tricky thing, to be unfunny and funny.
Marge, try to understand. There are two kinds of college students, jocks and nerds. As a jock, it is my duty to give nerds a hard time. Hey, pal, did you get a load of the nerd?
Pardon me?
This is the student dining hall.
And this sequence is, I think pretty good. But again, when I sit there and look at the whole thing and make these choices, I'll decide, well, this is not as strong as the other things. And we only have a certain amount of time. So this was a good thing to pull out. But now with the magic of DVD, we can take a look at this. I do enjoy that the students are very unenthused about learning the language.
What's wrong with this phone? It's making crazy noises.
Those crazy noises are computer signals.
Yeah, some guys at MIT are sending us reasons why Captain Picard is better than Captain Kirk.
This scene is a good example of a scene that I'm really glad that we cut, because it's just, it's okay. It's interesting to watch, but it really isn't as strong as a lot of the other material in this particular episode.
Lie still. You may lose interest.
Oh, Lisa, you and your story. Bart is a vampire. Beer kills brain cells. Now let's go back to that building.
The Halloween shows are the hardest shows to cut because there's 3 stories in one episode, and so there's always great material that has to be cut. And I really love this sequence and was incredibly sad that I had to pull it out, and I'm just thrilled that you're getting to see it right now.
Lisa, they probably just have rabies.
What about Maggie?
Well, you know how contagious it is.
I think it's nice and creepy that he's eating mice and that Homer would like mice as well.
All right, I'll bring in a woman, but I still stand by my hiring policies. Get back to work, Stuart.
I don't understand how we can go through so much baby food.
These are several good jokes in here, but again, we were in some time trouble in this particular episode, and we had to pull it out.
That was me.
Whoa, would you look at this? Retirement agrees with Tip O'Neill. Kind of puts our problems in perspective.
I didn't like this ending, and so we rewrote a whole new ending that has Lenny and Carl as the cherubs. And you'll see this animation is really tough because to try and get zillions of cats is one of the hardest things we can do, and it becomes like a cycle, and I didn't like the look. It sort of led us to come and write a whole new ending that was much stronger.
So this stuff really works? Certainly does. Oh, well, lots of luck!
This was also a piece that I was sad to lose, and I would have redone some of the animation on it had I decided to keep it in the show. This Frink machine, I love the idea of it because it not only uses diamonds to make electricity, but it only makes a tiny amount of electricity with a lot of diamonds. So this bulb is supposed to just barely light, so that's actually incorrect. I would have reanimated that and made it so the bulb...
I'll design it myself. I know what people like. It's got to have sex appeal and a catchy name.
This is just a little joke that was nice, and we just lost for time.
Oh, sexy.
This, once again, is our future prediction of Siegfried and Roy. And I love this piece because it just shows how sadistic they are, that they wake up the tiger first before they drug him. They wake him up just to do this.
Ah, yeah, welcome. Have a lucky day.
Well, he certainly showed.
This is another sequence that we worked really hard on and we're really proud of, but we were just long. And this character, James Bont, not Bond, but B-O-N-T, which makes it completely clearable and legal. And it has a lot of great James Bond jokes in it, which is that he finally loses and he gets pulled away. And then he wants to know the details of the plot, and the criminal will not hear about that and will not fall for that.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, good to see you. Tell your friends. Looking lucky. Hey, what's happening? Love the jacket.
The air nozzle on this tire causes it to stop on 34, a high percentage of
Again,
the
you
time.
can see in this sequence there's no sound effects of the chips falling, there's no sound effects of the wheel going. We did put in a temp sound of him landing and getting hurt because we just enjoyed that so much.
Why, you monster! And you have my daughter's saxophone, too!
This is something I had to cut for time, but I really enjoyed Dan Castellaneta's acting here. So it's a nice little Homer piece.
The rest till the two of us are behind bars. I mean, except for me. I'll be on the free side. The one that doesn't have the little room behind it where you have to be locked in. You're a good talker, Kent. Help me out here.
You're going to put him in jail.
I don't think so.
This is yet another scene that we thought would go faster and better with this cut. And again, there's absolutely no music here, but on the saxophone, she's going home, 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 making a sound similar to what the jug would have made earlier.
Rightfully sorry, but there is no hidden treasure. I have already used this time to escape from your jail.
This again is a choice that we made to cut this joke, which is not a bad joke, but the whole thing feels faster and snappier to cut early instead of later. So all this material made just, you can actually take funny things out of a show and it makes the whole show move much better. So it's a weird thing. Sometimes you say, well, that's individually funny, but in context, it's better to cut it.
Stop being such babies. You can't be afraid to try new things. For instance, tonight, I'm using a Pooh, what do you call this thing again?
A napkin.
Outrageous!
I'm hoping you enjoy this movie. It made every Indian critic's top 400 list.
This is a really nice parody of Indian-style filmmaking. But again, it's incredibly temp. There's no music. There's no sound effects of that window breaking. There would be great Indian music behind this had we finished it. Had I decided to keep it in the show, we would have completed all the post on it. But it still gives you an idea of what it would have been. And I love Homer's line here.
Look at what they're wearing.
Oh, man.
And this is a really nice kind of quiet moment between Bart and Lisa. But this was a fairly long show, so it made sense to cut it. Again, it was funny, but not as funny as some of the other stuff. And it also was not important to the story as a whole. So that's another thing that influences our decisions on what to cut.
I kind of like to research my roles and really get into it.
Now, of course, our guest star, James Woods, was absolutely brilliant in this show. And
I actually traveled in time.
And I liked every single thing he did. So I'm really glad that we have time to put back this one little joke, which I think is really funny.
Bad experiences hiring movie stars. Barbara Streisand stole hairspray. Judge Reinhold sold liquor to a 9-year-old. And Wilfred Brimley spit in a squishy machine.
I won't sell liquor to minors.
I'm sorry we couldn't take a cab, but I spent my last dollar on the plane tickets.
What the hell? Miss.
Again, because this is a temp, not completed, there's no sound effects of the plane there. We would have like a jet sound. We're not that cheap. We would have eventually put that in, I promise.
This lollipop has chest hairs on it.
A lot of times, too, our decisions are made, my decisions are made when I have a screening of this for everybody, and we sort of see what the audience, basically people who work on the show, how they react to each of these scenes, and we sort of get an idea what seems to be playing the strongest. But that's not the only reason. You also decide that, hey, even though this might not have gotten a huge laugh in that room at that moment, I still really believe in it, I still really love it, I'm going to keep it in the show. So you really have to balance all these decisions all the time and think about it in context and think about the screening. Had we kept this scene in, which I like, Pooh actually would have made a gesture to get the canteen back earlier so that the wait would have made sense.
I love you, Krusty!
Over there.
Paternity suit.
This also is a nice little character thing because we get this very funny note from Homer.
Dear Krusty, I am an American farmer. My mule is sick. Please send me $100. Signed, Homer Simpson.
And we would have had a great spit take sound coming out of Krusty had I completed the scene. This is a lot of actual Simpsons memorabilia in this shot, and I was sad to lose this.
Hey, when are we going to get a cut of this?
This is also discussions that go on in every successful venture, every successful television show about whether something's actually hit the profit point.
That's different money. Losers, losers! Kiss my big Springfield behind Shelbyville! Woo!
This next piece I wasn't too thrilled with, so I thought it was a good cut. But you guys can be the decision makers here. This is the eczema joke from Mr. Burns. I didn't think it was that strong, but maybe it's your favorite. This was something I was sad to cut because this is a really great performance by Skinner, and it really shows some of the insanity present in that relationship very nicely.
To turn her pretty little head. You better be home, woman! Answer, damn it! Answer! Oh, what could they be doing at 8 p.m. in the...
I like how quickly he recovers. This is just a tiny little trim that we took, which I think made the whole thing work better.
Don't worry, I'm not going to fire anyone. Except you, third row, second seat. You're history.
And I had the greatest time.
This is actually, I thought, very necessary to the story when we originally wrote this. But it actually turned out, and this is what's helpful about screenings, that when we actually played this, we realized we didn't need this scene, that people already understood that Bart picked up the idea that since he was going to earn Mr. Burns' money, that he could get away with anything at home. So we really didn't have to spell it out to them, so it was a really good cut. But this shows you how we made sure to set up the problem just in case we did need to explain it to that extent.
No, I know Weinstein's parents were upset, Superintendent, but I was sure it was...
And this is just a bit of an extension on Skinner having the conversation with Superintendent Chalmers.
Well, yes, all right, maybe there are problems at this school, but it's not my fault. I mean, look at the TV shows these kids watch. That Beavis and the Butthead. What? No, sir, you're not.
Again, very good acting by Skinner there. This is an example of, had I kept this scene in, I would have fixed it because Lisa actually says Mrs. Hoover's line, which is a common mistake that happens where they'll accidentally animate the wrong person talking.
Ah! Whoa! Yee!
This is also something that I would have completely restaged had I decided to keep this in the show. Because the vampire makes a noise to try and scare Skinner once they go far away. And I would have rearranged it and redirected it so that they didn't go far away. See how long they're gone? I would have had them nearby by the time he went bleh.
What's he doing here?
Well, once he found out we were going to get Ned
This is just a short little piece of trivia of Homer's actual plan, which is not a very good plan at all, but I thought you might be interested in hearing it.
And convince Ned that the building is upside down. This will work better if we can persuade the children to somehow walk on the ceiling.
Dad, that is not going to be necessary.
Again, I did a lot of references to Star Trek because I always loved Star Trek very much. I've used the music. This is a reference to Captain Pike from that double episode of Star Trek, The Menagerie, that used the original pilot of Star Trek. And Captain Pike was in this exact chair and had a bleep because he couldn't talk. And the great joke there is after she does all this bleeping, she can talk just fine.
Oh, my God. Someone's taken a bite out of the big Rice Krispie square. Oh, yeah, and the waiter's been brutally beaten.
Right there was the best place to end the scene, but you get to see what would happen if we would have let everything roll. It's not as strong as where we really did cut the scene.
Beesk. Oh.
Now it's illegal to televise court proceedings in this state,
so we'll have to be quiet.
No.
That's a great joke, by the way, which was in the show. And this is a nice sequence here, but again, we needed some time, and this was not as strong as some of the other things in the show. But a terrific idiot performance by Homer there, and followed up by a great, terrific idiot performance by one of our favorites, Lionel Hutz, Phil Hartman. Absolutely brilliant guy.
Look at them over there. They look like a carton of eggs. I want to go home.
Well, McGonagall, Billy is dead. They slit his throat from ear to ear.
Hey, I'm trying to eat lunch here.
Black pajamas?
This was a sequence that I was sad to have to cut for time. It's really, really well directed and animated. I love that Homer just really enjoys watching Skinner's nightmares. That's totally his entertainment.
3 months detention.
This was the best way to end this show, right the way it ends. But it was originally written, this longer ending here, which I'm showing you now, which I guarantee you is not as strong as just ending it the way we ended.
Say, Chowder! Hey, ow! Stop it! Stop hitting me! I'm an influential. Ow! Ow!
Thank you so much for watching these deleted scenes. Hey, let's watch them again.